Well, hello there. Steve McCormick here, taking the helm once again on another episode of Tub Talk, the podcast for IT consultants. Now, this season, we're focusing on speaking to IT solution providers and managed service providers just like you to understand what makes them tick. Specifically, we're speaking to MSP companies that won awards in the recent MSP Awards by SuperOps. Today, I'm joined by Jack Gray of FOMO Technology Limited, who won the Solo MSP of the Year award at the MSP Awards. Jack is the founder and managing director of FOMO Technology. FOMO Technology is a Northern Ireland-based IT support and services company with over 2 decades of experience in the industry. Jack is committed to providing businesses in the region affordable, customised and personal IT support. Jack, welcome to Tub Talk.
Thanks, Stephen.
Right, before we dive in, could you help us understand a little bit more about your company? Which part of the world do you operate in and how many people are in your team?
Right. Okay. Well, first of all, I'd just like to say thanks very much for inviting us to be involved in your Tub Talk podcast series, and of course to SuperOps again for the award. So FOMO Technology operates predominantly in the Northern Ireland market, mostly around the regions of Belfast and Lisbon. We also look after several clients over the UK mainland and the Republic of Ireland and as far away as Italy too. I have a couple of clients back in New Zealand as well. Our team is comprised of myself, a few local subcontractors, a level 2 remote support engineer, and a remote SOC and NOC team.
Brilliant. So what type of clients do you typically work with then, and what do you provide them with?
Well, we have a diverse range of clients across various market sectors, ranging from the manufacturing industry, accountancy, IFAs, through to property management, and we have a decent-sized marketing and design agency too. We also look after local schools' IT infrastructure that has over 50 staff and 400 students. Most of the work that we carry out for our clients revolves around proactive IT support that is delivered using several IT-hosted services. The IT-hosted services that we supply consist of remote monitoring and management tools, cybersecurity protection, and backup services that are all proactively monitored around the clock if required. We also, like most other IT MSPs, provide different levels of IT support to all our clients, depending on what their IT support requirements are and how much they value their business data and their IT infrastructure.
That's great. So you mentioned earlier that you still have a client or two in New Zealand. So you had a IT business to start with in New Zealand, and then you emigrated to Northern Ireland. You worked with a couple of companies there before starting FOMO Technologies in 2015. So what led you back into running your own MSP rather than working for somebody else?
Okay, well, there's probably a short and a longest answer for this. I'm not sure which one you want, but the short answer is that I married an Irish girl and she dragged me back here. The semi-extended version is actually I never really had an active interest in IT, to be honest. My degree was originally in managing trees. I've got a Bachelor of Forestry Science degree. So computers sort of challenged me at university. So I sort of bit the bullet and decided to learn how they all worked. And the reason I got into IT was by chance, really, where I was over in Edinburgh on a mate's weekend and ran into a couple of mates I did forestry with, and they said this was 1999 Y2K, and they said they were doing IT down in London, making £25 an hour, and I was on probably about £4 an hour. And they weren't the brightest crowns in the pack when it came to our degree. And I thought, well, if they can do it, so can I. And I didn't even know what IT stood for. So I just pretty much, brought a book. I think it was a big 900-page CompTIA plus book back in the day that was DOS 6.x, whatever it was. You had to learn as an operating system. So that sort of shows you how old I am. and then basically put the proverbial on a CV and then away I went and got a job and pretty much picked the rest of it up on the job, really. So that was the introduction to IT. It was sort of a challenge for me learning about computers, but at the same time I thought, well, look, I read a book once on how to fix a car, how to become a mechanic, and I thought, if I could apply myself to do that, I can apply myself how to fix computers. So that was my introduction to IT.
Absolutely. I mean, you are not the only person to kind of get into IT in a kind of sideways direction. I myself started out in engineering, so so it is a strange world how we get sucked in. To it, isn't it?
But we are. But look, I enjoy it. So look, it could be worse.
That's the most important thing, isn't it? Yeah. So you must be very pleased then to win the Solo MSP of the Year award at the MSP Awards by SuperOps. Could you tell us a bit more about why you think FOMO Technologies won that award?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really sure, actually. There are probably many several other small MSPs running around like us doing their best to keep their clients happy with their IT, trying to keep the IT running as smooth as possible. But it's not really an easy game, to be honest. If anything, I think we won because we seem to be doing okay with the IT systems that we have in place, along with a relatively limited set of HR resources that we have in our books. Personally, I'm quite thorough when it comes to making sure that IT projects and support work is completed properly. I also make sure that I establish a good rapport with all our clients that we work with, because I'm a big believer in that businesses often like to do business with like-minded business people. So communicating and getting on with your clients is also key for us as well.
I mean, it really is, isn't it? And that actually leads greatly on to my next question, which is going to be about communication. So a solo MSP that works with a number of contractors, how do you manage communication between the people that are delivering services on your behalf and your customers, and what tools do you use to actually manage that flow of what you need from them?
Look, probably like most other MSPs, we leverage a PSA ticketing system, and we also use a number of the services internally that we also implement for our clients. So, for example, Microsoft Teams would be an example of that. Most of our clients use Teams, therefore we use Teams. So, providing we understand the technology, and we can then, leverage that, and our clients learn from us as well, and vice versa. So that would be one of our main sort of products that we'd use in terms of communicating. Of course, there's good old email and the phone, really. I mean, you can't really sort of go past those two technologies. They usually work quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you kind of have to kind of always still have that kind of touch point between, all the people that you're managing, that you still have to occasionally pick up the phone and yeah, I think we would be lost without that here too. So yeah, exactly. That is great. Where did you first hear about the MSP Awards by SuperOps? And when you found out, how did you find the entry process? Was it something that was easy to get into?
Yeah, no, I think where it came from was that we have a regular group of Teams calls with some guys across the pond there, like-minded MSPs that were put together through the Tech Tribe as part of the one of those groups, pod groups. I can't remember what they call them now, actually. But so we sort of carried on with our own group because we got on really well with each other. And one of the guys just said, look, these guys have got this award. SuperOps have got some awards, and just put the link onto the Teams chat, and I just clicked on it, filled it in, and that was it. Really, it wasn't really too difficult, and it didn't really take much effort either. So I just put a couple of sentences in about ourselves, and next minute we got an email. Funny enough, I didn't even know we'd won. One of the guys had found out that he'd seen the results and said, "Jack, you won." I was like, "Really?" I didn't even think twice. How did it happen?
I mean, I think that those local peer groups are absolutely great for that kind of thing, because it's so hard to get on top of what is happening in the industry sometimes, and to actually get somebody else to say, "Oh, have you thought about doing this?" It's they are definitely worth attending one.
I've
to about 3 now. So
because I'm a solo MSP, we generally don't really have much of a sales or a marketing arm or anything like that. I wear all the hats. So, yeah. Those guys are invaluable to us because, we're able to sort of discuss different things in terms of technologies, different services that they're using, all the sort of issues they're finding and coming across, some things, all the wins that are working for us. And that, of course, we like to share our wins with each other as well, so that, we can give each other a pat on the back and make sure we're not just doing this for the love of it, really.
Absolutely.
So it's great. I'm very grateful for those other guys that we share our knowledge with and stories. So it works well.
That's great, Jack. What does winning an award like this mean to your business. How will you move forward now with this?
To be honest, we're very grateful for the award, to be honest. I mean, it sort of came as a bit of a shock to us. And it's sort of, I guess in a way, it cements and highlights, what we like doing on a daily basis in terms of providing the best possible IT service that our clients deserve. That's pretty what it comes down to.
Absolutely. And I suppose you can always, kind of use this now in your marketing to say that, along with your testimonials that you've actually, won this. So that always attracts new business, hopefully. So
need to get those testimonials sorted as well, actually.
Great. So would you recommend entering this type of award to other nimble MSPs like yourself?
Yes, certainly. I mean, look, you got nothing to lose, really. I mean, ironically, we weren't even entering the award to win. It was just really more of a surprise that we won. So that's
brilliant. Yeah. That's great. So back to you personally then now, Jack. And I'm intrigued. What have you found the most challenging thing about running an IT business? You've run more than one now, so I bet you've got quite a few stories
I've got
there.
a bit of a list here, to be honest. I'm not really sure where to start with that question, to be fair. Look, there are plenty of challenges. If anyone says running an IT business is easy, it's probably slightly diluted.
Yeah.
Look, IT is probably most as a service-based industry, and as opposed to selling the widgets, which in hindsight would be much easier to scale with. I mean, in the service industry, there's only a certain amount of hours you can work in a day. So to grow, you need to hire more staff and work more hours as a business as a whole. Look, one of the things that still challenges us today is our stack offering, and standardizing on a particular set of services, mostly around cybersecurity, and trying to get a buy-in from all your clients so they're all on the same services can be somewhat of a challenge. With some clients have different IT requirements and budgets, so one set of cybersecurity services often won't suit every client. So that's another challenge we come across quite regularly. We also probably spend too much time on research and development, to be honest. We seem to be constantly reviewing different vendors' IT services on what they offer, and as a result, we can spend too much, evaluating their services, and again, that falls over to, reevaluating our stack at the same time. So
yeah,
a lot of silver bullets, sort of, shiny objects that we tend to get. Shiny objects that we tend to get involved with there, unfortunately. What else? We finding suitable staff that probably want more money than they're worth would also be a potential issue. I think a few people can sort of relate to that at the moment. I mean, it is definitely an employee's market, but I think a few of them are sort of, they're taking the mickey a wee bit when it comes to what they're looking to get paid versus what they're really worth in reality. So I'm sure it'll swing around at some stage, but that's a bit of a challenge, trying to get, good staff at a rate that, we believe is fair and equal. What else is difficult and challenging? Look, keeping up all your IT documentation. Even creating it from the start would be a bit of a challenge for us. I mean, we do have IT documentation, but it's fairly limited. I wish I had more time to spend doing the documentation. If anyone was starting out in IT now as an individual solo MSP, I would recommend getting that right from the start, having a ticketing system and making sure you're doing your documentation as you go along. We didn't do that, and as a result, we're finding it a bit more difficult now to scale, because you need the documentation in order to bring staff on. So otherwise staff come on and they potentially don't know what they're doing because your documentation is limited in certain areas. I mean, we do have decent documentation for a number of processes, but it could be a lot better. So we're still yet to bite the bullet and get into a proper documentation tool that we're reviewing at the moment. Again, that's another product, another vendor we're also spending time reviewing. So catch-22 there.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, and the last thing is I do fairly a lot of long hours, until I can delegate tasks to others, I sometimes find myself doing additional work in the evenings. Look, but don't get me wrong. I mean, I do have a good work-life balance, but this is something that we're trying to cut back on. I don't really want to be spending my evenings doing extra work, quoting and doing the admin tasks that you sort of pushed off during the day because you're doing other work. So that's another challenge for us as well.
It sounds to me as if you kind of know where you want to go next, and that is to kind of make yourself less central to it all, and actually delegate things to another member of your team when you grow. So that's brilliant, Jack. Those are great things for us to kind of chew on there. Conversely, then, what would you say was what would you say was your favorite thing about running an MSP? What things do you enjoy most?
Yeah, look, I think probably the most enjoyable part of this is probably the variety of work. Look, one day is not the same as the next, and because I wear sort of multiple hats, the variety of my job is a lot more than the average. I'm sort of covering lots of different roles and everything. Ultimately, look, I'm an engineer by trade, so I prefer the technical work and everything else. But there's all those other challenges of doing the marketing and admin and everything else, the finance and everything. We do delegate a lot of that work away. I mean, I've got a good accountant and bookkeeper as well, so I do tend to pass it on to those people that are better doing their job than what we are. So, that's one of the things. I think I quite like implementing new IT solutions, not only for our clients but for our sales, to make us work more efficiently in our own business and see them in action as well. And that's pretty much it, really. Just pause here because I've got something else I was going to say, but I've already covered it. So don't worry about that bit there.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I mean, I think you're absolutely right there. I think when you are running your own business and it's just you, there are so many hats that you have to wear, and every day is a new challenge, but also a new way of looking at what you do. So I think you've kind of hit the nail there, really, especially with a solo MSP like yours. You must have a lot more challenges to kind of cover. So but it's part of that which makes it so interesting, is the fact that you are doing different things. So that's great.
But getting paid for it at the end of the day is also enjoyable.
And getting paid for it, of course. Yeah. Absolutely. So what do you see the next few years holding in store for the MSP industry as a whole then? And kind of where do you feel like you could kind of branch into, I suppose, is what I'm asking there.
Yeah, look, I don't. It's a tricky one, really. I mean, you sort of read a lot of things about what people are saying and everything else. I mean, I wish I had that sort of crystal ball that you can stare into. But
yeah,
I would say that it'll just, for us, it'll be pretty much in both, probably most MSPs, it'll just be the continuing development, the fight against cybercrime, really, and bad actors. That's probably the biggest challenge that any MSP in this business has got at the moment. And it's trying to educate our clients to be wary that they're potentially it's not a case of if but when, and a lot of clients just believe that it's not going to happen to them, how big or small they are, and some of them, the smaller ones, say, look, we're too small, we won't be impacted. But it doesn't really matter now these days, so and trying to get their buy into that. So the majority of them that understand it will know if someone else has had an attack. They will generally know about it and believe you fairly, once they've spoken to other people as well, they've experienced it. So it's just then getting their buy-in for to make sure that they do implement those strategies and the security services to help protect their own business. I think the cloud growth will continue to grow, and consumerization as well. Remote working is bound to stay with distributed workforces. So that's probably another thing to bear in mind. Look, we had COVID and everything, everyone went home, and then we sort of had the cost of living crisis, and everyone's come back to work because it's cheaper to turn the power on at work than it is to be at home. But I still think there would be that the distributed workforce will still continue to operate, and I think a lot of business owners have been quite flexible with their clients, their employees, from what we can see, and allowing them to work from home. So, but it's just a case of them managing that, the productivity from those employees, and that'll be their challenge. But we can also help them with that as well with certain tools. But that's their only concern, I think, for a number of business owners, is that with that remote working is it working for them still? And yes, we've got Teams and Zooms and all that sort of carry on. But I think a lot of people still prefer to have that face-to-face meeting, the back to the office and everything else, and being a bit more productive. So yeah, that's always a challenge for most businesses, to be fair.
Definitely. So in terms of your business then, and particularly in terms of growth and maturity, where would you like to be in 18 months' time?
Do you know what? In 18 months' time, I'd love to have sold the business, to be honest. But I didn't put a long way from that. So no. Look, in reality, I think we'll probably have to add a couple of extra staff and look to increase our client base and hit some new financial targets. That's what we're probably looking at in the next 18 months.
I think especially with a solo MSP like yours, you are going to need to want to add a couple more staff before you kind of grow out. But I think you've got a plan there by the sounds of it. So brilliant. So what would you say are the potential challenges or obstacles that you need to consider in order to achieve this growth goal then?
Well, that's it. That is the challenge itself, growth and expansion. It's relatively easy in a way to sit back and manage what I term a lifestyle business, as opposed to a sellable business. But it's always hard to let go when you're the main point of contact for most things within your business. Specific issues would be adding on the right staff and keeping them busy and incentivized. I can't pronounce it. Incentivized.
Yeah,
that's the key thing for them, really.
Yeah, and I think you said it earlier too. It's about getting the right staff that don't expect too much, and in terms of remuneration, to kind of have them there in a developing role that they'll want to kind of join your team because there are opportunities to actually grow within it rather than just have a nice big salary, So yeah, I think we know we're gonna have to recruit. But we've done well so far with external recruitment. Let's say using Socks and Knocks and a couple of remote guys overseas and everything else. Works out really well for us. But it's the on-site stuff that you need a couple more guys on the ground here. And we're currently recruiting right at the moment, but it's very thin pickings at the moment. Most of the good guys have already taken, and the other ones are sort of wanting a lot more money than they believe they're worth. Again, they know it's their market, but we'll choose the right person when the time comes and when it's right. But we're not just going to jump in, be first and hope for the best. We just want to make sure we get that process done correctly. And a lot of people have warned us don't take staff on. I think just because they've had bad experiences with staff in the past. Mm-hmm. So, but look, there's only a certain amount of sort of offshore remote working that you can actually do. You need guys locally on the ground, and the subcontractors that we use have been brilliant. But it's just to take the next step, we need probably another in-house technician, engineer, probably a level 2 guy, something like that. So that's what we're looking for at the moment. Brilliant, thank you. Right now, so who influences you in business? Are there any mentors, authors, or speakers that have made a particular impact on what you do there?
Do you know what? Probably none, really. I mean, look, I don't really get hyped up about those sort of people, to be fair. I probably actually show more attention to this area, but it's not really something I really, there are a few people, but I don't really go out and sort of buy a book off someone. There's lots of books out in the market and everything else. So I tend to buy them, take them on holiday, and they stay in my bag. So I should be probably more of an avid reader, but I'm not. I've used some business coaches in the past, and they've been brilliant, and they really do make a difference. And so I'll probably look at engaging with another business coach probably within the next 6 months to a year. They're very useful for your business. So if you're in that stage where you sort of can't see the wood from the tree sometimes, I really recommend getting a business coach on board just to sort of help you out there.
Definitely. I mean, we use them here, so that they are fantastic for when you just need that kind of just that step to where you want to be next. They are really, really good. Okay, then. So we're coming towards the end of the questions now, Jack, and I just wanted to ask you: do you have one golden piece of advice to give to budding MSPs who may one day win an award like yours?
Yeah, look, it'd probably just be stick at it, I guess. Look, some days you feel like you're the statue and your clients are the pigeons, but you just need to try and remember that your clients often don't understand what you do for them, and many of them don't even have a clue about what IT even is within their business. So try to add value where possible, educate them as best you can in a language that they can understand, and they will, or they should, appreciate your time and effort as a result.
Absolutely. I wanted to say again, congratulations on the award. It was Best Solo MSP of the Year at the SuperOps Awards. If there's anyone that wanted to reach out to you and continue a conversation with you, Jack, how would they find you online?
Right. Well, this is the embarrassing bit. We've actually never had a working website, so
I did see that actually. Yeah,
it's one of the things that needs to be addressed in the next 18 months as well. So, look, all our clients have been, have just been referrals. We've just grown organically that way from day one. We actually do have a landing page on our website that's been under construction for the last 5 years. But our main business landline number is on there, along with an info email address. But the best way to probably find us would be probably through LinkedIn.
Jack, I wanted to say again, thank you for speaking with me today. And once again, congratulations on the award.
Many thanks, Stephen. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes this episode. Thank you for listening. I've been Stephen McCormick, and this has been Tub Talk, the podcast for IT consultants. Goodbye for now.
Hey folks, Richard here. Thanks for listening today. I know you've got a ton of options for who you listen to nowadays, so I really appreciate your support. Do you have any feedback on this episode? Ideas for future guests? Tweet me at Tublog using the hashtag TubTalk. I respond to every tweet and really appreciate your feedback. Hey team, this is Richard again. Just one more thing before you take off, and that is MSP Insights. Now, every Tuesday, I share my thoughts on the business of IT with you, the managed service community. Thousands of managed service providers already subscribe to MSP Insights. It's easy to sign up, easy to cancel. MSP Insights is basically a short email from me every Tuesday without fail with advice on growing your IT business, plus cool resources I've found, discovered, or started exploring that week. It's kind of like my diary of cool things, and often includes articles or books I've read, tools I've discovered, and events I think you'd be interested in, often sent to me by my friends and Tub Talk podcast guests. So, if that sounds fun, a short tiny bite of MSP goodness every Tuesday, and you'd like to try it out, just go to go.tub.co/Tuesday. That's go.tub.co/Tuesday. Drop in your email and you'll get the very next one. Thanks for listening.